So wow, 2020, what a year. I think couldn't end soon enough. And I know that many people are looking forward to 2021. I think by somewhere around the end of January, most investors were probably near or at their all-time highs with respect to their investment portfolios. And we saw the markets really start to fall. We shut down pretty much right across North America in the months of March and beginning of April, and we saw the market tail off. As we moved into end of spring, early summer, market started to rebound as we saw coronavirus cases start to diminish. November was a great month. I think the best month that we've seen since 1987. The environment for investment has never been better. We're seeing low interest rates, low inflation rates, government still looking to provide stimulus, a lot to look forward to, and a year that we were just coming out of that was at times very, very nerve wracking, very scary, but at times quite rewarding as well. So a roller coaster ride, to say the least. In 2020, we saw our economy literally shut down uh, twice. I guess the debate rages on with respect to whether these shutdowns work, the consequences of them. I guess we have to figure out if shutting down our economy completely, partially, the effects of that, are they worth the rewards? And as a risk manager, I'm constantly balancing off risk versus reward with respect to people's portfolios, investments, and I think government has to do the same thing. It's very scary. I don't know what's going to come of it, and I think that unknown is making a lot of investors nervous. And we'll see how it all plays out over the coming months, the first few months in 2021. Hopefully, the vaccines will cure all, and we can get back to some sense of normalcy. When you go through a year like we just did in 2020, I think it's really important for investors to kind of take some lessons away from the experience, what we've gone through. Number one, when you look at what really worked in 2020, I think you have to look at technology. I think technology as a sector, as an investment, was the number one sector and investment for investors. Having a balanced portfolio, I think, is another lesson we should take away from this past year. We talk about a balanced portfolio always making sense, but even more so in 2020. I think in the beginning, as I said, technology seemed to work throughout the year, although towards the end of the year, we started to see other sectors come on strong, like banking, like hospitality, travel, airline stocks, or even energy had a good run towards the end of 2020. And lastly, a third lesson would be this whole notion about market timing. I can't tell you how many times people will come up to me and say, should we pull out of the market and then wait for things to look a little better and then get back in? Well, that is always a really difficult thing to do. Trying to time markets are extremely, extremely difficult. I always say the best days of the market come after the worst, the best months after the worst, the best years tend to come after the worst. So lessons learned, I think, are really crucial when you come out of a year like this to understand what went wrong, what did we do that was right, I think is really, really important to take away for going forward into 2021. I think right now, the number one thing for investors will continue to be coronavirus or COVID-19 and what we're doing to fight it. We also have an inauguration in January. A new president will come into being, will be inaugurated January the 20th. President, I guess it will be President Biden. What is he saying? What are his policies going to be? Will he have a majority or not? These are the things I think investors will focus on. And lastly, I will say that there is what we call the January effect. As goes January, goes the rest of the year. I think the stat is something like 70% of the time when January is a positive month, the rest of the month is positive. But overall, I think it's going to be the continuation of the reopening of the world, of the economy here in our country and in the United States. And I think that is what individual investors will be focused on.